So I finally finished putting together my BOBS KL744 CNC router, and I went ahead and put the spoil board on, but just for the initial run. But I now want to go ahead and make this thing the exact way I want it, and it's going to be with the T-slot, so I can use T-nuts and hold down clamps and things like that. And that's about the easiest way I think to do it. Otherwise, you're drilling a bunch of holes, putting a bunch of inserts in, and then hoping that that works out. I like the clamps and the T-slots a lot better. So we're going to get started with that right now. What we did was we set the circular saw blade depth to approximately 3/4 of an inch, just a little bit past it, so it will cut the board in half, but it won't kill our plastic sawhorses. And to make this rip as straight as possible, we'll be using our Kreg rip cut. Kreg's having a sale for these. I think they're gonna be like 34, 35 bucks. You can find them on their website. I'll put a link in the description below. I think it's like 35 bucks instead of 40. You save a little bit off during the holiday season here. Okay, now that this thing has kicked my butt, I'm ready to make my cuts. BOBS CNC has a great diagram on their website, and it shows the total width of what you'll need for your spoil board. You're gonna need 7 main pieces, 2 side pieces. So we're gonna take that total width, plus accounting for the kerf of the saw, and we're just going to break down this MDF so that we don't have to manage with this whole big piece. Now I'm just going to use my framing square to lay out my lines. Remember that BOBS CNC diagram shows me exactly how big each piece has got to be. So I'm going to lay them out here, accounting for the kerf of the saw blade, and then I'm just going to make my cuts, and we're getting closer to the finish line. Okay, to keep things simple here, I set the blade depth at 1/8 of an inch, which is about approximately what BOBS CNC manual says to do. And then I set my fence at about, it will take off 1 blade width from the edge of the MDF as I run it through. Now, in the first couple of cuts, I did not use an important piece here, but on my rest of my cuts, I did set up a featherboard to hold the MDF tight to the fence as I'm running it through on its side. I don't want it to push away in or out and cause the blade to cut at a funny angle. I want these T-slots to be perfect, so you'll notice that in all the rest of the cuts. Alright, so we're going to get these things attached in place now. The ends, I started my end piece with the 3-inch piece, and then we go out from there. What I do is I take a T-nut and I put it in place. I use it as my spacer. Then I have a cheap pair of calipers that I got from like Harbor Freight that I use to get my spacing that I want. Once I get that place, I use my framing square to find center of the board, mark it, pilot hole, countersink hole, and then I just used, I think I had some 1-inch sheetrock screws that I set in place, and then tighten those down by hand. I repeated that process through the field, all the way down, all the way out. I screwed it in multiple places so this thing's tight to the baseboard. I don't want this thing going anywhere. Once I got the end secured, I'm just going through the field and I'm securing each board down. I did 2 screws per line, per board, and I think I spaced them 10 or 11 inches each. I can't remember what it was. I just wanted to make sure those boards were secure to the baseboard. Then you can take your, once I got done with that, I vacuumed everything up, and I took my palm sander and I just ran it over the top real quick to get rid of all the fuzzies off of the pilot holes. Now, you can also take a bit and put it in your new CNC router, program it for the entire work area, and then surface the whole spoil board so that everything is 100% level, and that's something I've still got to do.
To finish this project up, I just made some cheap hold down clamps using some birch plywood and some T-slot nuts. I wrapped one end in tape to help hold it down, blah, blah, blah. Use those on here, it works pretty good. Now you can buy these T-slot nuts on Amazon or at your favorite woodworking store, that kind of thing. You can't find them at your big box stores, unfortunately, or at least not where I'm at. But that makes this project take off, and it really works real well. I hope it's helpful. Thanks for watching. Make sure you leave a comment in the comment section, and man, you really need to check out these BOBS KL744s. These things are awesome. I have made quite a bit of money with it already.